If your thick thighs are saving lives, baby, don't keep them from their assignment. Hey there, beautiful. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kelly Michelle, your fellow life curator. Because, honey, we are curating the life of our dreams over here. Here, we have curated conversations along the beautiful discovery of life after 40 about love, romantic love and self-love, spirituality, and a little razzle-dazzle of fashion. So if that's your vibe, I'm so glad you're here. I'd love it if you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our chats. You know, all the things. Okay, let's get into today's chat. So the last time that we were together, we dabbled in the fashion space. Today, we're gonna have a curated conversation and chat about a topic I'd like to call Dear Church Girls. So a couple months ago, I posted a video of me and my hubby, you know, Chocolate Bae, on Instagram. I'll put a picture of it here. If you're not following me there, please follow me there as well. The video showcased me and my husband in different spaces throughout our relationship. And the audio that I laid over top of the video was actually by another beautiful content creator who was speaking to so much of our story and how my husband has created this space and allowed me to really rest in my femininity and really live in a space of ease. In essence, what she shared in the audio was that my husband taught me how to rest because it was something I really needed to learn how to do, how to rest in my femininity, how to be in a space of ease and be comfortable with it. And we can have a whole separate conversation, child, about femininity because I have a lot to share about femininity and how oftentimes it's just viewed as an aesthetic, that you need to have French manicures, you need to have a muted clothing line and muted makeup. And that is the definition of femininity, but there's so much more that you can add to what aesthetically you can see. It's an energy, it's a presence, it's an essence. There are feminine archetypes where maybe we need to show up as a warrioress. Maybe we're showing up more as a seductress or a lover or a sage. So I'll do that in a separate video. If you have questions or thoughts, comment down below because I'd love to know what you think. But there's so much more to femininity than just an aesthetic. That aside, the video is sitting now at a little over 2 million plus views. But what I found most intriguing, and it's really cool, don't get me wrong, it's really cool that the video basically went viral. But what I have really enjoyed is the juicy, beautiful, healing conversations that we've been having in the comment section of that video. There's so much conversation around romantic love, how it's been disappointing, how in some instances it's been engaging and endearing. And what I'm hearing as a common theme I noticed throughout those comments is that I heard a lot of hoping, wishing, and praying. And it was more of a I'm sitting in a passenger seat as it relates to my love life and the desired love life that I'd like to curate, as opposed to I'm in the driver's seat and leading this thing. I wanted to have a conversation about leaning into and being an active participant in curating the love life that you may desire. Essentially, how to shift yourself from that passenger seat to the driver's seat, grown woman's edition. So I'm going to go ahead and say the quiet part out loud so that you don't have to. Baby, we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and it has then caused us to run amok. Disclaimer, if you're married and or not interested in a mate, you are signaling that this message is not for you because you're not open to the idea or concept of receiving a mate into your life at this time, or you're married. So here's what I do ask. Forward this on to somebody that you know is single and ready to mingle. Thanks. Sign to management. Okay, now back to what I was saying. For many of us who were born and raised in the church, we're church girls, right? We've been prophesied over, told so many things. We've been taught and conditioned to think a certain way that we needed to just sit and hope and pray. And if I go back to that post that I had on Instagram, I saw many instances of women who had been hoping, wishing, and praying for 10, 15, 18 years. And don't get me wrong, please don't misunderstand. There is absolutely nothing with having a hope, having a desire, having a divine connection with God where you are praying for the desires of your heart. However, I found in my own personal life that combining that with an active participation, baby, that is the cheat sheet. Okay, so you may be wondering how it is that I know anything about what I'm talking about. I know. It was in the back of your mind. And I'm so glad you asked. I'm going to grab some tea and a seat. We're going to have a little kitchen table talk. Okay, so hopefully you got yourself a beverage as well. I've got some spearmint tea. Sidebar, does anybody know how to make sure that the tea leaves don't come out of the little medicine ball thing? I typically have tea bags, but baby, I got leaves floating all throughout here, but I'm sure gonna drink it. Yes, I am. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna place my hand ever so gently over yours to indicate the softness with which I am speaking. Baby, we got to switch this thing up. And I get it. This may hit your ears as brash or harsh, but as a 15-year former church and ministry leader, including head of singles ministries, baby, we were sold a bill of goods. And baby, the check is bouncing. The check is bouncing. The bill of goods no longer have value. So I'm a PK. My father's a retired pastor. My husband's father is also a pastor. And outside of those two ministries, for years, I mean, a solid decade, I would hear prophecies and revelations. Ministry leaders were, I saw your husband at church and service yesterday. Now, I'm not quite sure my husband, who was coming from the Lord, could never quite link up with me where I was. I'm thinking that the divine don't need a GPS. But that's a topic for another day. But after prophecy, revelation after revelation, excitement after excitement, I got tired. Because you know what I realized, particularly as a singles ministry leader, we would curate these environments for singles to be able to mix and mingle. And we could have anywhere from 50 to 500 people in the various single events. Oh, the energy was so good. The communication, the connections, the conversations. It was such a good vibe, such a good environment. And inevitably, I would be able to connect and have great conversation with people. As a ministry leader, security would escort me to my car, and every single time I would get in that car, shut the door, and realize I was by myself. There was a lot of, dare I say, gaslighting, and I found myself continually, year after year, still going to family events by myself, events for work by myself. I was one who enjoyed my own company. I enjoyed vacationing by myself. But at some point, I wanted to have somebody to do life with. At some point, I wanted to be able to share all of these great experiences, not with my girlfriends all the time, but I was trying to share it with my man. I wanted the my man experience. And not just so that I could post it on social media, but I really wanted that day-to-day partnership, collaboration, and experience. And I wasn't seeing it, and I wasn't experiencing it. However, when I made a conscious decision and set my intentions to shift from the passenger seat in this love life of mine and shift to the driver's seat where I am actively leaning in and curating the love life of my dreams.
Yes!
Baby, that's when the game was changed, because I opened up my heart. I opened up my calendar. I opened up an energetic space. I opened up spiritually to be able to receive truly what my mind and my heart desired, but I hadn't really given full reign. And that I'm not going to just sit back and hope and wish and pray. Baby, I'm leaning in. And me and the divine, me and God, we gonna tag team this thing together. Honey, I was convinced that the collab of me and the divine, of me and God, this was gonna be a collab to beat all collabs. I was opening up a space so that potential suitors and potential contenders could come into my world. So what does that look like practically? What does that mean, and what does it look like when I'm shifting from passenger seat to driver's seat? Honey, I'm so glad you asked. 3 tips that I'd like to share. Number 1, as I was mentioning, I was opening up my mind. I was opening up my heart. I was really opening up everything within me to be receptive to a partner really being in my life. And I was committed to the intention that I wanted to have a life experience, a love life experience with my soul partner. I was going to have to make some practical changes. In my day-to-day life, what I found was when I was outside, I wasn't even in a receptive space. I had my AirPods in my ears, I was listening to a podcast, a YouTube video, keying it with my mother or one of my girls on the phone. And the shift that I then made from passenger seat to driver's seat was I took the AirPods out. I wasn't having conversations. I wasn't listening to music or a podcast or anything. And I was present in the moment. And first of all, I had to get out and about because it was work, church, home, rinse and repeat. So I had to make some room in my schedule, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But when I was out and about, I was present. I had a pleasant look on my face. I would have extended looks. If I found someone of interest, you know, when you look just a little too long, I wanted to engage in all of the feminine archetypes because the warrioress and the leader, I knew those quite well. The sage, I knew those quite well. But I had to really lean into and tap into more of the lover energy, where I was creating a space that was warm and inviting for any potential suitor who decided to come across my path. So step number 1 is deciding within yourself internally that I am linking up with the divine. I'm shifting from the passenger seat to the driver's seat and taking a very active and participating role in curating the love life of my dreams. Okay, number 2. Now this one might shake the table just a little bit, but stick with me. I cut back on my church involvement.
Wow.
I found that when I did an assessment of what I was doing with my time and being able to manage my time in a way where I had room in my schedule to be able to entertain a potential suitor, let alone a dating roster, baby, I didn't have any time. And a lot of my time was spent at the church. And not that that's a bad thing, but I needed to reprioritize things. I didn't need to be at every revival, at every service, or Bible study, meeting, or counseling session. I needed to pull back a bit so that I could open up my schedule so that I could go to mixers, so socials, so peruse through the produce section to see who I might need to see. And more importantly, who might need to see me. For quite some time, I had come into agreement with the conditioning and the perspective that as someone who is single, I had so much more available time on my schedule to serve. And there is value in that. But I also needed to make time in my schedule for the desires of my heart. That meant for me pulling back from my church involvement and moving me up in the priority list so that I could curate the love life of my dreams and make it to that social. And number 3, I need you to jiggle, 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 jiggle. Jiggle, 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 wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, hey, hey. Honey, listen. We're going to have to switch some things up. When you look at the mirror, what is the thing that you love? Is it your lips? Is it your hips? Are your thick thighs saving lives? Is it a little décolletage? Is it your shoulders? Is it your arms? Is it your legs? What is it physically about you that you love? And accentuate it. Now, baby, I ain't talking about running around naked. I mean, move about as you feel so led. But open up the lover archetype in you and find what you find absolutely beautiful about yourself and begin to accentuate it. Baby, let the fupa breathe. Let the girls breathe. Let the shoulders breathe. If your thick thighs are saving lives, baby, don't keep them from their assignment. Okay, so where are my church girls and or former church girls who are single and ready to mingle? I'm going to need you to report back to the crew. We're going to need to hear these stories. As you're curating the love life of your dreams, come on back now, you hear? Meet me down in the comments. What have been your experiences? What have been your challenges? What questions might you have? Let's help each other navigate through this space. For me, I got married when I was 45, and it has been one of the most enriching journeys of my life. So know that I'm coming from a good place. I'm coming from a place where I've been there, done that, bought the entire t-shirt and ensemble. I instituted these things in my life and I saw positive results. And I've also seen positive results of many beautiful souls that that I love. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our chats. I'm Kelly Michelle, your fellow life curator. Until next time, remember, we're curating the life of our dreams, and we're doing it together. And from one almost 50-year-old church born and raised girl to another, baby, we got to switch things up.